So here we have the Cartesian coordinate system. I have it mapped out for you. The x-axis runs from left to right, y-axis up and down, and I have the quadrants listed for you. So we start with the upper right for quadrant 1. We see that all the coordinates are going to be positive because we're moving to the right and up. So both the x and the y coordinates are positive in that first quadrant. As I move to quadrant 2, we see that values of x are negative, y are positive. Quadrant 3, excuse me, they're both negative because I'm moving to the left and down. And in quadrant 4, we see that the x coordinates are positive and the y are negative. So every single point on the plane, we have to use an ordered pair because it has both the x and a y component to it. Where they cross at, the x and the y axis, is called the origin. And the coordinates for that is 0, 0. I haven't moved to the left or right or up or down. Every ordered pair is always going to be the x coordinate is going to be first, the y is going to be second. When we get into applications, you'll see that they use other variables, but what they're always going to do is put them kind of in alphabetical order when you're setting these up. But for our purposes for right now, we're just going to look at x and y. So again, hopefully all that is really just things that you've already done. We're going to talk about a couple different formulas here. So if I have 2 points in the plane and I want to find how far apart they are, I'm going to use the distance formula. So I'm going to start with the point -4, 3 and 2, 6. And I want to know the distance between these two. So that's what I'm looking for. So the distance formula is really just built from the Pythagorean theorem. And that's when we had a right triangle. And we had the legs A and B. The hypotenuse, we always use C. And the Pythagorean theorem says a squared plus b squared is equal to c squared. So back to what I want to find the distance between. I'm going to just form that right triangle. And we want to look at the lengths of the sides. So this distance from here to here, well, the y coordinate up here is 6, and then it goes down to 3. So this is going to be 6 minus 3 is that distance. If I'm looking at the x's, it goes from -4 to 2. So this distance is -4 minus 2. And we're plugging in to this formula and we're just going to square that. And what we'll find is the hypotenuse. So D is just going to be the x coordinates subtracted and squared plus the y coordinates subtracted and squared. So this is what I got for the y coordinate subtracted. This is what I got for the x coordinate subtracted. So all I have to do is just plug them in here and square it. So the x's, we had -4 minus 2. And the y's, we had 6 minus 3. So -4 minus 2 is a -6. And then when we square that, we get 36. And then 6 minus 3, I get 3. So when I square that, I get 9. So the distance is the square root of 45. Now there's 2 different ways we can express this. This is the exact answer. But if I'm leaving it exact, I still have to break it down with the radicals. So since 45 is 9 times 5, 9 being a perfect square, it would simplify to 3 times the square root of 5. If I really just want a number, which a lot of times I do, I'm going to plug that in my calculator. So square root of 45, and rounding it to 3 decimal places, I get 6.708. So that's my approximate answer. And 3 square roots of 5 is my exact answer. So another topic that we're going to look at is equation of a circle. And a circle is just all the points that are equal distance from some center. So here's my circle. I know it's a terrible circle, sorry. Here's the center of my circle, and we use the point HK, and we use that just because it's very distinct. Whenever you're talking about this point HK, we know that we're talking about the center of a circle. And then we have a radius, and that radius is the same no matter where we hit on the circle. So I get x minus h squared plus y minus k squared is equal to r squared. So that is the basic formula for the circle. If my circle is centered at the origin, let's say I have a circle centered at the origin and the radius is 3, then that h and k is 0. And we don't really want to make it unnecessarily bigger than it has to be, so we're just going to write it as x squared plus y squared equals 3 squared, which we get 9 for that. So if I want to know the center and radius of a circle, and I'm given the formula, so let's say this is what I'm given. If I want to say what the center and radius are, it's always the opposite sign, right? Because this formula is x minus h squared and y minus k squared. So opposite of -2, we get 2. And then because this is the opposite of +3, we get -3. So the center of the circle is 2, -3. And this is the radius squared. So the radius is going to be 5 for that. So if I want to write the equation of a circle with radius 7, center 4, 8, I'm going to write x minus 4 squared plus y minus 8 squared, right? It was just minus whatever these two terms are, and it equals 7 squared, which is 49.